Dr. Shun, would you like to make a comment?
I think when we talk about the role of the government, of course, government here is one outsider. But I think in the developing countries, with the countries with a very low level of development, the role of government is very important. I think at first, government have to set up a framework for the legal framework, in order to have a room for community and for citizenship appear. The second, the government should keep a macro policy environment favorable for everybody, especially for the poor, for the vulnerable group. Fair environment in policy, market policy, in the macro policy. The third one is that I think government also need to support. Of course, there is dangers. If the support is not well done, it becomes interference. So the support should go through the decision-making process with strong participation from community, from the people. But as long as it's going on, I think the support is helpful. So I think at least the government have very crucial role in the primary step of the development of the countries, of the low developed countries. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, I think, one more? 30 seconds?
I want to pick up on the theme of outsiders. I think it's time for the outsiders to come out of the closet. I've been an outsider in my work since I was 21 years old. I was a CUSO volunteer, outsider in Grenada. I was a Canadian student in the States during the Vietnam War, definitely an outsider. I've always been an outsider, and I think I've added some value. And I think we don't need to be ashamed of being outsiders. We should have T-shirts. I'm an outsider and damn proud of it.
Okay, well, that sounds like a group, a T-shirt design group that we could rally around after the coffee break. So I would like Jody to, first of all, Gord, to guide us through the next session, which will end at 12 for lunch. So I think by the time we've had coffee, we're talking about an hour's session. Okay?
We have a name for outsiders here in Nova Scotia, or they have a name for outsiders like me. It's called CFA, Come From Away.
This is the time set aside in this next hour to hatch conspiracies, to plot, to scheme, to see what can be cooked up in a variety of conversations. Right?
Absolutely. And we don't have time to do this in a directed way. And we all know you've been conspiring. I've been part of conspiracy conversations, people getting together, talking about what they do and what they want to do together, not as one large group or even as two networks, but as small little clusters. And so we want to provide some space for that to happen in a way that can enrich all of our larger conversation at lunchtime by reporting back some of the things that people are planning to do. And so we haven't even organized the rooms, but what I suggest in light of the time is that we do a mini kind of open space here, in a very quick one, in which people say, a few of us, for example, a few of us from Africa are talking about an African network that we want to establish, and we're going to go to room 242 for the next hour and talk about that. And then anybody who wants to join us can join us. And we're hoping a number of people will stand up now and say those kinds of things, and people will go off, they'll grab their coffee and go to the room rather than have the time in the lobby, have a working coffee. And then we come back to we're not having lunch at Morrison Hall. We're going to the Millennium Center, which is right beside Governor's Hall. It's the big athletic complex. On the second floor, there's a conference room where we're going to have lunch. We're not asking for flip chart presentations. We just want a sentence or two or three about what you're doing together. And then we're going to try to sort of bring it together and wrap it up and talk about maybe there is something we can all do together or
And just to add a word here, I think a lot of the things that you may want to do, you can do with connections that you've made here with each other. There may be some things where a little bit of follow-up support on the part of Cody, and ABCD would certainly support this as well, would be useful. And so we want to offer the possibility that if it's useful, we know we're going to provide everybody with email contacts, so that's going to happen. But if there's a sort of useful connecting function that Cody and ABCD can do to help some of your follow-up work, we'd love to do that. So be thinking, when you're thinking about what it is you're going to do together, is there something that could be slightly supportive of that?
Okay, who'd like to start us off? Okay.
Talking of conspiring, we were conspiring around taking over the entire room for the next hour and a half, but we're going to try to have a little bit more humility than that. We'd like to talk about the role of creativity and creative action in culture and community. When I think we consider that we're out in the field, on the ground. How many of us work in our sessions with song, with music, with theater, with story, and what is the role in that in community evolution, and also changing the paradigms of this development legacy that we're trying to alter? And where are we going to let's meet outside. We'll just be outside in the front and we'll find a space. Yeah.
What about in
Moses
Confucius?
Cody statue. We'll meet there.
Yeah, by the statue, by Moses Cody. Okay.
Here's Sam. Here's Sam is going to.
Maybe we will still have to wait for some announcements, so hang on in here. Yeah, carry on.
I'd like to see the development of a listserv so that we can keep continuing this conversation among ourselves, listen in as other people talk about what they're doing, put questions out to the group, wrestle with issues, in essence, continue this whole 3 days over cyberspace in coming years. Sure, how about, the only room I know of is room 240.
Yeah,
we got a name here that apparently came out of a first group, ABCDEF, ABCD Electronic Forum.
Okay, I would like to start a movement which is very conspiratory in Africa. And we want to sit down together and determine the content of our conspiracy in terms of how we will improve our people's livelihoods and connect with the resources and also influence policy within our governments. And so we would like to sit together and flesh out our own conspiracy. And then we will find out who we can invite to help us. Exactly.
Which room?